Welcome in, welcome in, welcome back to the Crypto Bully Bear channel where there's only fun decoding and no financial advice. No. So I keep getting this question about what's going on with these two wallets with XPR. Everybody nervous. So, funny enough, I was listening to some of the AMAs and Marshall answers this himself. So you can listen to this yourself. I will play it, and you can find this on the Metallicus YouTube channel. Here you go, everybody. Listen up.
Two-part question, and then I'm done with the questions. But the guys answered one of the questions earlier as far as the two top wallets holding 90% of liquidity. I just wanted to know from you yourself, what are those two top wallets that hold 90% of the liquidity? That's one. And two, God damn, I forgot the second question. If you can answer that one,
well, you got to give them context first. They were ETH address, Marshall.
Yeah, I don't.
Gold chain.
Listen.
Yeah, that's right. So sometimes I'm like, man, maybe we should just get rid of the wrap token. We created a equivalent of WBTC for Proton on the Ethereum blockchain. That's an ERC20. So you can take XPR, the first spin on the Ethereum blockchain, and go one-to-one back and forth using our bridges. That's what you're looking at when you go into Etherscan. But Proton isn't a token, it's a coin, it's its own blockchain. So if you go to protonscan.io, that's the Proton Block Explorer. That's where you can see the rich list, all the information. When you're looking at Etherscan, you're looking at the wrapped asset, which is basically just an analog one-to-one. It's like the WBTC or the BTCB or what have you, just for Proton. So a lot of times I think it throws people off and they're like, oh my god, this looks really bad and weird. But it's like, no, that's actually just the wrap token. It's a bridge. And there's a bridge also for like BNB Smart Chain. And we're going to be adding bridges for all the major chains, so you can bring Proton and also XMD out onto those chains as well.
Okay, and my second question was about the staking. So I currently have
this is about farming.
USDC,
if you can do it
for Proton. But when I first put the USDC to stake it for Proton, it showed that the APY was like 34%, and then just recently it went up to 56%. So I wanted to know, every time you stake, when you commit the USDC to staking for Proton, at the moment that you commit, let's say I commit for 36%, am I only receiving the 36%, or if it goes up to 56, does it adjust to the 56%?
Yeah, so let me explain how that works. So I think what you're referring to is the farming on the Proton DAX.
Yes.
And so there's staking and there's farming. And staking is where you essentially, it's kind of like the democratic DAO part process of Proton, where you stake your Proton and you vote for block producers. So you go to protonscan.io, you see all the block producers. On that site, you'll see like a little world icon, which will bring you through to their website. So you can see what they're all about. You can ask around in the community what they do. And the best is probably Twitter, because you go on Twitter and you can see what they're tweeting, what they're building, things like that. So then you vote for these block producers. And by voting for the block producers, it assigns their weight and how much rewards they get while they're essentially mining the blockchain. And that's kind of like a democratic way of like, hey, I really like Proton New Zealand, his memes are great. Or I really like, Greymass, because the Anchor wallet is just a nice alternative to WebAuth or something like that, right? Or whatever it might be. Or I like EOS USA because Michael really helps keep the network tight or whatever, does a lot of volunteer work around that. AldoSac keeps people safe from scams and talks about all the security stuff. Everybody's got their own cool thing, right? So you put your vote where you believe it's valuable. And then when it comes to farming, it's a little bit different than staking. So staking, the rewards come directly from the network, and that's for participating and voting and choosing which block producers should be given priority, right, in the rewards and things like that, based upon how they're doing. The farming is a different idea where essentially it's an incentive for liquidity, and this is really cool because what we did was after we created the farm is very similar to Uniswap, and I'll warn you and I'll tell you there's this thing called impermanent loss. So how the farm works is, let's say you put up $10 of USDC and $10 of Proton. As people are buying and selling Proton, they are buying and selling your Proton and USDC. So if somebody sells some Proton, that's going to take some of your dollars. And if somebody buys some Proton, that's going to add to your dollars and take some of your Proton. So when the market is bearish, you're becoming weighted in Proton, and when the market is bullish, you're selling your Proton, you're getting heavier into USDC. And when people are trading, you're getting a reward of those profits. That's just the pools. So the liquidity pool, there's two different. You can actually get a lot more APR than what you see. So when you stake into a liquidity pool, you're providing liquidity, but you're risking a permanent loss. So which means if you put in $10 of USDC and $10 of Proton, you might end up with $9 of USDC and the equivalent of $11 of Proton when you withdraw. And that's what they call permanent loss. And so you have to monitor when you're farming and you put your liquidity in the pool, unless you have a strategy around that or you're comfortable with the impermanent loss, you kind of want to keep an eye on it. So when the price starts moving up and down, you can pull your farm in liquidity with no gas fee and no penalty, and you won't experience a permanent loss. So that's just out there. The liquidity pool is where you put that liquidity and you're earning rewards simply from the people trading at 0.3% or 30 basis points, and the amount that you're earning goes down based upon how much the person is staking that's trading. So their fees go down all the way to free if they stake over 10 million Proton into their account. Everybody else is paying fees, and that's where that 30 to 50% comes from. And that rate goes up and down based upon how much trading volume is happening. So if more trading is happening, that 30% becomes 50%, becomes 70%. And then there's this other concept called farms. So next to liquidity pools, you'll see farms. So when you stake in liquidity pool, you're earning revenue for the trading fees. Now, when you stake into farms, it's different. That's an incentive there's two different types of ways that the farms work with incentives. New coins that list into the swap may put up a set amount of coins, like Lunar Crush or something like that. They'll put that into the farm, and maybe at some point farming rewards run out and their farm disappears, right? But in the case of Proton, we thought that the farm was so awesome, and the way that this whole system works was so great. We decided, the Proton block producers and community decided, let's increase the inflation by 1% per year to put that into the farm, which incentivizes liquidity into Proton. So Proton is autonomous and always can trade on its own blockchain, and it doesn't need other centralized exchanges. It doesn't need anything else to exist. And the liquidity will always be good, and trading will always be good because there's rewards and incentives to come in there and do that. And those compound on top of each other.
Yeah, it's enough of that. So everybody was asking about the two wallets that were holding all of them in the XPR. That's Etherscan. If you want to really check out who's holding XPRs in their particular wallets, there's a thing called Proton Scan. And that's it. You heard it straight from the CEO's mouth. Proton CEO Marshall Hayner. You heard it from him. That's the Twitter space. He was on the AMA. And there you go. So I believe those wallets are for all the wrap tokens that they do, and they hold them within those wallets. So do what you want. I love XPR. I love what they're doing, and all the videos and movies and music videos that I've been watching. I have seen nothing but clues about XPR. And I have seen clues about Ripple too. So I'm in love with Ripple as well too. I am in love with Ripple. I am starting to learn that Ripple is nothing but software, and they will take anybody on to make sure that their software is the best out there. So that is very interesting to keep in mind. Just understand that Ripple themselves is a software company, and they move data back and forth. And they will take on any blockchain or any company and add them onto the Ripple network to power them up and make them one of the most beastiest companies out there. Now, supposedly, I don't know, but there's word out in the streets that supposedly Ripple is not supposed to survive, and that it might be Corium that's supposedly taken over. Me specifically, I don't know anything about Corium. I looked at the team. They look very shady to me. That's all I'm going to say. And within all my decodes and everything like that, Corium might be something big. I just don't think it's going to be part of the Big Bang. So I feel that Proton is one side of the Big Bang, and I'm waiting on the other side of the Big Bang. So people think it's Corium. I don't believe it's Corium. But you guys do what you want to do. I'm just throwing it out there. So, again, my journey, my opinions, that's really about it. And again, for everybody who was worried about the two wallets that were the two high wallets, well, they're pretty much holding all the wrap coins, I believe. So, thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. Hopefully this video was a help to everybody that was worried about these two big wallets with XPR. Thank you. Goodbye.